Man, I like this one. My guy said, have you ever wondered why you question your existence and why scientists and religion turn to creation? What if we didn't? First, I'm gonna start at the end and then come back around. What if we didn't? If man didn't question his existence and the existence of everything around him, then man would be no different than any other beast of the field or plant in the field. We would be no different than a rock or anything else that just functions based on instinct and a basic nature of survival. Man has that, plus man has the ability to reason, to think, to contemplate. And it is that reason, that ability to reason, to contemplate, to think is what separates us from the beast of the field, the plants of the field, the rocks, the elements, and everything else. Although science has started to show, and those who study other forms of creation have shown that there are levels of emotions, which means that there are levels of consciousness within every aspect. What they are defining is the law of correspondence. And religious does this in a similar fashion as well. But they are defining the law of correspondence, which says as above, so below as above. That there are higher and lower planes of consciousness or dimensional planes. And these planes are all interconnected and they all affect one and another. Some affect the ones on the higher plane can affect the ones on the lower plane more dramatically than those on the lower plane can affect the higher planes, but the lower planes can affect the higher planes. A lower plane you could look at a lower plane as something like the atomic structure. The atomic structure has its likes and its dislikes. It has its attractions and its repellents. Depending upon what forces are enacted upon it from the higher plane, the atomic structure will either be attracted to or repel from it. But that repelling, if it repels from itself, if we split the atom, so to speak, it has a monstrous effect on us at this higher plane. Therefore, things that are at a higher plane than what we are at can affect us, but then we also can affect it. That is what religion would call spirituality. That the people who practice Ifa and Wudin would say the ancestors can affect what's on the lower plane. That what Christians would say that the angels or the seraphims and cherubims or God or Jesus can affect the lower planes. This is where Krishna and Kali can affect the lower plane of matter, this matter plane existence that we live in. So they're effectively speaking on the same thing, just from different points of view. And those points of views is what caused debate and argument and disagreement. But in fact, they're really speaking on the same thing. And then you thought, have you ever wondered why you question your existence? I have. And my answer is because I have a consciousness that is more complex than a turtle, than a chimp, than a gnat, than a rock. That I have something more than what they have, and that is a more complex mind that has the ability to think and to question everything around me. And in that questioning, I question the doctrine of man that has went for eons and eons of different interpretations and different understandings. Our ancestors at one point believed that an earthquake was generated because of a deity. A storm was generated because of a deity. You, I believe, are a Christian, some form of Christian, because you continue to quote the Bible. Prior to Hezekiah's changing of the Bible in around 500 BCE, Yahweh, El, was a storm god. And that storm god had a wife, Asherah. And he said, no longer shall we worship Baal, but now we shall worship Yahweh, or El, the storm god. Not Jehovah, but it was El, the storm god, because the storm god was issuing out punishment. They believed that the punishment that the northern tribes of Israel suffered under was because they were not worshiping the storm god properly, and that's why they went into Babylonian captivity. So in order to prevent the storm god from sending them into Babylonian captivity or anybody else's captivity, they decided to just worship El. Now, mind you, at no point were they not a vassal of another region, because even after the Babylonian captivity, they spent a little bit of time, then they were under the Persians, and then a little bit of time back in the Kemetic again, and then the Greeks, and then the Romans. They have not been an independent state until 1947, and around that time. And even that formation of Israel is not from the ancestors that were supposed to inherit the land of Israel. So Israel is still under foreign occupation. So this promise of Abraham has not happened, never, and probably never will happen. And as we continue to question our existence, we will never get a full answer. No one will ever be able to answer. As I expressed in the other video, when you was talking about Ecclesiastes 3:11, the workings and the knowledge and the identity of the all is unknowable and undefinable. So as much science as we can get, as much religious wisdom as you can get, it is impossible for the finite to ever fully comprehend the infinite. We can't even understand the infiniteness of matter or the universe, our current version of the universe. But keep thinking, keep questioning, keep asking questions. But ask the questions that you are afraid to ask about your own religion and its historicity, and who and why things were written, and what were the purposes of those things. Who was in control in 325? Who was in control in 185? Who was in control in 500 BCE, in 1400 BCE? What were the events that led to everything that you currently now believe in? Question those things, and then you will start to free yourself so that you can be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.